It was a rainy Thursday evening when my phone buzzed with a message from Jason, a colleague I'd met just a few months ago. Hey, I need a huge favor. Can you babysit Emma tomorrow evening? Emergency at work, please? I hesitated. Babysitting wasn't my specialty. Children were unpredictable, loud, and exhausting. Yet, there was something in his tone, a quiet desperation that tugged at me. Okay, I typed back. I'll do it. What time? He replied instantly. 6 p.m. until I get back. Thank you so much. I didn't realize then that agreeing would pull me into a story I'd never forget. The next evening, I arrived at Jason's apartment. The air smelled faintly of vanilla and old books, a strangely comforting scent. I heard quiet giggles from the living room and stepped in. A little girl sat cross-legged on the floor, carefully arranging a set of colored blocks. Her dark hair fell into her eyes, and she looked up at me with a cautious curiosity. Hi, I'm, your babysitter, I said awkwardly. She didn't answer at first. Then, softly, she whispered, I'm Emma. Her voice was a fragile thing, almost shy, yet there was a spark in her eyes that suggested she noticed everything. Something about her gaze made my chest tighten, a feeling I couldn't quite explain. As I tried to make conversation, Emma twisted her tiny wrist, and I noticed the bracelet she was wearing. It was delicate, gold, and oddly familiar. The kind of bracelet my grandmother used to tell me about. The kind only given for very specific reasons. And then it hit me. My heart froze. That bracelet, it looked exactly like the one my childhood friend Lily used to wear before she disappeared years ago. I shook my head, telling myself it couldn't be. There was no way Emma could be. Emma, can I see your bracelet? I asked, trying to sound casual. She lifted her wrist and smiled. Grandma gave it to me. The room suddenly felt too small, too quiet, and my hands shook slightly. I decided to push the uneasy feeling aside and focus on the evening. Emma led me to the living room, where she had neatly arranged a board game. Do you want to play? She asked. I nodded. Sitting across from her, I realized how surprisingly clever she was for a 6-year-old. She laughed easily, but every so often, she'd glance at me with an intensity that made me feel seen. As the game went on, I started noticing small things. Her way of tucking her hair behind her ear when nervous. The way she spoke certain words in a familiar pattern. It was uncanny. I pushed the thought away, telling myself I was imagining things. Jason had left detailed instructions. Dinner is in the fridge. Heat and serve. I opened the container and realized Emma had made her own little notes on the side. Tiny scribbles that read, Eat slowly, smile, be happy. I blinked. Who taught a child to write that way? There was a wisdom in her notes, almost beyond her years. We ate, together quietly, sharing small talk. I felt the room's warmth grow, and for a moment, the bracelet, the memories, the nagging thought, all of it faded. Then, as she reached for her glass, her bracelet caught the light again. And I remembered. Emma suddenly whispered, You look sad. Why are you sad? I paused, unsure what to say. My mind was spinning with memories I hadn't thought of in years. A little girl I'd once known, lost under mysterious circumstances, and that bracelet, a token that had haunted my dreams. I'm not sad, I said quickly, forcing a smile, but she didn't believe me. You remind me of someone, she continued softly. Someone I wish I could meet. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up. My heartbeat raced. Could it be? Could Emma somehow be connected to my past in a way I hadn't dared imagine? A sudden clap of thunder made the windows rattle. Emma jumped slightly and clutched her bracelet. "It's okay," I said, trying to reassure her. Yet, inside, I felt the same childlike fear that had haunted me during storms when I was young. Lightning flashed, illuminating the room, and I noticed her eyes glimmered with an almost mystical intensity. "Do you like storms?" I asked. "I like them when I'm not alone," she said simply. Her words echoed in my heart. There was something profoundly lonely about this child, something I instinctively wanted to protect. Suddenly, Jason called. "Everything okay?" he asked. "Yes," I replied, keeping my voice steady. But my mind was elsewhere. I didn't know how to explain the bracelet, the resemblance, the memories flooding back. "Emma is great," I added, trying to reassure him. "Thanks again," he said. "I owe you. Just make sure she goes to bed on time." I hung up, staring at the small figure in front of me. How could I tell him I was now questioning everything I thought I knew about his daughter? Emma curled up on the couch and asked me to read her a story. As I flipped through the pages, I noticed she had already memorized certain phrases, reading them before I could. "You love stories," I said. "Stories love me," she replied with a grin. Her innocence was disarming, yet beneath it, there was an intensity I couldn't place. Something about her made me feel as though time had folded back on itself. And then, without thinking, I asked, "Emma, where did your grandma get your bracelet?" She looked at me, eyes wide. "From someone very special, someone who promised to keep me safe." My breath caught. Could it be possible? Could this tiny, seemingly ordinary child be the link I had spent years searching for? As I helped her brush her teeth, something fell from her bracelet, a small folded piece of paper. I picked it up. Written in careful handwriting were words that made my hands shake. "To the one who finds this, remember, love always protects, even from afar." Emma looked at me expectantly. I swallowed hard. This was no ordinary bracelet, no ordinary child. My past had somehow intersected with this moment, and for the first time, I realized my life had changed forever. And I wasn't ready for what was coming next. That night, I couldn't sleep. Emma's bracelet and the cryptic note haunted my thoughts. I kept thinking about Lily, my childhood friend who had vanished when we were 10. The bracelet looked identical to the one she wore, a gift from her grandmother. Could it really be? No, it had to be a coincidence. But the coincidence felt too perfect, too deliberate. The way Emma looked at me, her strange awareness. It was like she knew things she shouldn't. I tossed and turned, imagining every possible scenario. And then I realized maybe some truths were waiting to be uncovered, not feared. The morning sun spilled through the curtains. Emma was already awake, humming softly. "Good morning," I said, trying to sound cheerful. "Morning," she replied, sliding the bracelet off her wrist and handing it to me. "I like showing people my bracelet." I hesitated, holding it carefully. Its weight felt significant, almost like it carried a message. And in that moment, I felt a strange mix of fear and hope. Hope that maybe, just maybe, I was on the verge of discovering a miracle. I couldn't keep it in anymore. "Emma," I began cautiously, "have you ever met a woman named Lily?" She tilted her head, eyes wide and serious. "No, but I think I've heard her name in stories." My heart pounded. Memories of laughter, secret forts, and childhood promises rushed back. Could it really be that Emma was connected to Lily somehow? I needed more information. Where did your grandma get your bracelet? I asked again. Emma's eyes softened. It was given to me by someone who loved me before I could even remember. Someone who promised to keep me safe. Always. I swallowed hard. This wasn't just a coincidence anymore. Jason returned home unexpectedly early. He was smiling, exhausted, but there was tension in his eyes when he saw me holding the bracelet. I see you found Emma's bracelet, he said softly. I froze. My voice trembled. Jason, where did she get it? I mean, this bracelet looks exactly like one someone I knew had years ago. He looked at me carefully, then sighed. There's something I should tell you. Emma's, she's special. She's connected to someone from your past. My heart stopped. What do you mean? She's Lily's daughter, he said quietly. Time seemed to freeze. My childhood friend, Lily. She had a daughter? All the pieces, the bracelet, the resemblance, Emma's uncanny awareness, clicked into place. Jason poured himself a cup of coffee and continued. Lily, she passed away unexpectedly a few years ago. Emma was only 2. I promised her mother I would keep her safe, and I've kept that promise. I felt tears welling up. My mind raced with memories and grief. I had spent so long wondering what happened to Lily, feeling helpless and angry. And now, in this quiet apartment, her legacy stood before me. Emma, her daughter, innocent, wise beyond her years, wearing the bracelet that had haunted my dreams. I don't know what to say, I whispered. You don't have to say anything, Jason replied. She just needs someone who cares. And I think you were meant to be part of her life. Over the next few days, I found myself spending more time with Emma. Every small moment, the way she held a pencil, the way she hummed, the little phrases she repeated from my own childhood, felt like a bridge connecting me to Lily. One afternoon, she looked at me with those intense eyes and said, You know, I feel like I've known you forever. And in that moment, I realized that love and memory can transcend time. Emma wasn't just Lily's daughter. She was a continuation of her spirit, a reminder that people we lose never really leave us entirely. Caring for Emma taught me lessons I didn't know I needed. Patience, understanding, and the power of presence. Small things that children naturally teach adults. Why do you always help people, even when it's hard? Emma asked one evening. I paused, because helping people is how we show love, even if it's scary. She smiled, and I felt my heart lighten. It was a small truth, but one that resonated deeply. Sometimes love means stepping into uncertainty and trusting the connection, even when it's frightening. One weekend, I took Emma to the park, hoping to create memories in the same places Lily and I had once visited. This tree looks familiar, I said, pointing to a large oak. It's old, Emma replied, but it feels happy here. I laughed softly, feeling tears sting my eyes. Memories of Lily laughing under that same tree flooded back. And as Emma ran ahead, her laughter mingling with the wind, I realized that life had a way of giving second chances, sometimes through unexpected, miraculous ways. One evening, as Emma slept, I found another note tucked under her pillow. To the one who loves and protects me, thank you. Remember, hearts are never truly lost. They live on in the people who remember us. I held the note close, understanding its weight. Lily's presence had guided Emma to safety, and now I understood my role, to honor that love, to nurture Emma, and to live in a way that made her proud of her mother's legacy. The bracelet on her wrist gleamed softly in the dim light, a reminder that connections never truly break. Years later, I watched Emma graduate from elementary school. The bracelet still adorned her tiny wrist, a symbol of resilience, love, and memory. "I'm glad you stayed," she whispered to me, her eyes bright. "Me too," I said, feeling a profound peace. I realized that life often surprises us, weaving together loss, hope, and love in ways we never expect. The child I had once babysat had become a bridge to my past, a lesson in compassion, and a living reminder that love transcends time. As Emma waved to her friends, I caught a glimpse of Jason, smiling softly from the sidelines. And in that moment, I understood. Family isn't just who you're born to, it's who you choose to protect, love, and carry forward. The bracelet gleamed one last time, catching the sunlight. And I knew that Lily's love, Emma's laughter, and my presence had come full circle, leaving a legacy far greater than any of us could imagine.